Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about action construction equipment. We will see how the result has been and if the company is able to, keep up with the guidance that they have given, right? Earlier they had given a guidance of about 15 to 20%, and they told they'll maintain a EBITDA margin of around 22%, and let's see if they've done that. So just to give you a crisp about the business model, action construction equipment, manufactures and sells cranes. That is one of their main source of revenue. That is cranes, okay? So they have 63% market share in the cranes. Not just cranes, they do other kind of equipment also. If you see, if you see the revenue breakup, so 70% of the revenue comes from cranes. That is a major segment. Okay, that is number one. The second thing is your agriculture equipments. One of the things is like tractors and other agriculture equipments. There you get around 10% of the revenue, right? Then you have material handling equipments. Material handling equipments contribute around 8% to the revenue. What are these material handling equipments? You would have seen, right, in warehouses and all, there is this yellow and black color car vehicle that is used to move things, all these heavy things, heavy packages from one end to the other, commonly called as forklift also, right? This is your material handling equipments. The other thing is construction equipments, which contribute around 11%. What are construction equipments? Your backhoe loader, your wheel loader, your soil compactor, these kind of things. I think popularly this is called as JCB. I think a lot of you all would know these vehicles by the by the brand name, by the vehicle name. JCB is a company, but having said that, you people would have seen these, but you might not know the names. You would call them as JCBs, right? So these are the four sources of revenue for them, like the revenue breakup, if I have to give. Right now, let us just go to the result and see how they've done. See, one thing I would like to highlight is Q1 is a very weak quarter for this company, right? If you see the history of the company throughout, since the time they've been operational, right, you will see that every single time the Q1 and Q2, is a bit like H1 is usually lean quarter for them. H1 is usually a linear, the half year, and Q1 is extremely lean for them. But in spite of Q1 being lean, they've clocked in such a good revenue, like absolutely stunning set of numbers. You will see that year on year, the company has grown by 27%, 15 to 20% ka guidance, yeah, and they're doing 27%. Not only that, QQ, where always the revenue degrows, even on a quarter on quarter basis, the company has grown by 8.2%. Similarly, in terms of PAT also, you will see the PAT has grown by 48% on a year on year basis, and on a quarter on quarter basis, it has grown by 42%, right? So a good amount of operating leverage. Not only this, you will see even a margin expansion. Agar aap PAT margin ko bhi dekhoge, it has expanded from 8.6 to 10.2%. So all in all, you see this quarter, in spite of being a very lean quarter for them, they've clocked in the highest amount of revenue, and their margins also is the highest that you can ever possibly see in the company's history, right? So all in all, you will see result has been good. Now let us just go a little bit deeper and try and understand every segment, how it has been. If you see the crane segment, right, in the like I will give you a breakup of every segment. If you see the crane segment, the revenue from crane segment has grown by 26% on a year on year basis. Whereas the volumes are very important here, right? Because at the end of the day, they're selling vehicles, right? So the volumes, if you see the number of units they've sold, that has grown by 17% on a year on year basis. Similarly, with construction equipment also, construction equipment has grown by 78% on a year on year basis, the revenue, versus the volumes has grown by 80%, right? And material handling also, uska bhi revenue hua hai 10%, it has grown. The only thing is the agricultural equipment that is there, that has degrown by 30% on a year on year basis. Now the reason for this is because you would have seen, right, in tractors there is a change, right? There is a new regulation from BS3 to BS4. The tractors have been there is a change in regulation. So all the tractors that are there that was compliant to BS3, it had to be stopped. Not just a production, the sale and everything had to be stopped by July. And from after July, you have to do the BS4 ka, you have to start with BS4 ka regulations. That is why you see that the agriculture se jo revenue aata hai, that has been impacted down by 30%, right? So this is the only thing, and the management has been very open about it also. Now the reason also you're seeing, one of the reasons you're seeing the PAT expansion happening, the top line is growing really well. There are two reasons, right? One is, like I told you, the demand for these products are very strong, because you're seeing like I keep talking in any of my manufacturing videos. If you see, I keep telling how good the demand is, how well poised the country is because of the schemes that the government of India is providing. And so that is one of the other reasons. The second reasons you're seeing is the product mix is changing in itself. In the sense, earlier you would see that cranes ka jo tha, it used to be around 70% of the revenue. Now within cranes also, there are multiple shifts that are happening. One is, earlier people were buying only this 14 ton ka crane, 15 ton ka crane. But these days, people are upgrading the crane. They are buying bigger cranes. जो आदमी 14 to 15 tons का crane खरीद रहा था, now they are buying 15 to 20 tons का crane. जो 20 tons का crane खरीद रहा था, they are buying 25 tons का crane. So that is the reason. Now, of course, right, as the crane का size is bigger, the more customers, if they buy bigger cranes, the margin is also bigger here, right? Because more cost, cranes cost more, right? That is one of the reasons. The second reason is, if you see the export जो था, earlier export का revenue used to be, last year it used to be 4%, now it is 6.7%. Going forward, by this year end, that is by FY24, they want to get the export size ka revenue, export se jo revenue aata hai, to be 10%. This is another reason why you're seeing this huge expansion in margin. The third is, you're seeing the construction equipment. Like I told you, construction equipment abhi bhi, hardly 11% it contributes to the revenue. But there is so much demand for construction equipment because, see, if you see today, India is really putting a lot of money into developing infrastructure and everything, right? Not just in terms of, the government places that you see. Railways mein ho raha hai, right? Agar railways mein, if you're telling that you're going to get 400 Vande Bharat Express, of course, right, in that land or that site where you're doing all this railways cutting, aapko a construction equipment chahiye, you will need cranes and everything, right? We are seeing real estate boom also on the other hand. So all of these people will need bigger cranes and bigger construction equipment. Even in construction equipment, actually, they were not the market leader, right? JCB jo brand tha, that used to be the market leader here. Even here, they're being very aggressive and they're expanding the market share. Earlier, in the last 4 to 5 years, from absolutely having nothing, their market share was hardly 1 to 1.5%, and now it is 3 to 4%. In the next 2 years, they want to take this 4% ka market share jo hai to 8 to 10%, right? So यहाँ पे भी एक, a leverage will be played out. The other thing is, not in cranes, like I told you, people are buying bigger cranes, so bigger cranes pay margins bhi zyada hota hai. The other thing is, there is something called as multi-activity crane. Okay, in this multi-activity crane also, right now it is contributing hardly in the total 70% jo crane hai. Multi-activity crane ka sale is hardly 3 to 4%, right? Going forward, in 2 years, they want to take the share up to from 4% to 10%. Now, why again this is a big deal? It's because multi-activity cranes, of course, they cost a lot. They'll add more to the margins. Yahan pe margins ka bhi expansion hoga, and therefore you'll get more operating leverage also. So these are the reasons you see why the operating leverage has been expanding. You'll see more operating leverage, and you see the PAT and the bottom line also, really doing well. Again, to wrap it up, one is because of course, the product mix that is changing. People are buying bigger cranes, right? That is number one. Within cranes also, people are shifting from normal cranes to multi-activity cranes. That is number two. Number three is jo construction equipment tha, right? Jahan se unko 11% revenue aata tha, if it's just contributing. There, they also want to increase the market share. From 4%, in 2 years, the market share will be 8 to 10%. That is number one. The fourth is the export revenue. Export revenue right now is at 6.4%. By this year end, it will be 10%. So in all, because of these things, that is why you're seeing the, this huge expansion in patent top line. The other thing, if I have to focus on, like I told you, right, Q1 is very lean for them, right? A very, very lean quarter. But having said that, they performed really well. The reason, like I told you, right, India, if you see throughout the world right now, right, if you're tracking any businesses, if they're catering to export oriented businesses, you're seeing so much problem, especially if it is a retail business. You're seeing a lot of problem because of inflation and everything. But India, on the other hand, it's like, it's a completely different story. We're seeing the demand unlike any other, like we have ever seen, right? We are having a very stable macroeconomic conditions also, right? We are seeing a lot of domestic activity, right? In Q1FY24, we saw a lot of the domestic activity has been very, very resilient. Not just that, right? If you see a lot of companies, they're still having, especially the manufacturing companies, you're seeing them coming out with very pristine and healthy balance sheets also. So all of this, right, has been very, very favorable to ACE, because at the end of the day, these people cater to another industry, right? Real estate, power, mining, and all of these things. So that's the thing. As a result, because of all of these things, not just that, like I keep reiterating the fact, because the government schemes are so well playing for them right now, the demand is so much, not just in domestic, even in terms of export. Otherwise, think about it. Why would the management be so confident about increasing the export car revenue will be 10%, right? The demand is so much that they're not even able to cater, right? The current unka jo capacity hai, right, in their plants, they're not able to cater to the demand with that current capacity. So what is happening? They're putting up a new brownfield capex also. I've discussed it even in my previous video in Q4 FY23, where I've given the capex breakdown. There also you would see they wanted to expand their capacity for cranes, right? And the capex was around 40 crores, I think, for that. And from there, they would get around 400 crore ka turnover. Even if you see this jo tha, जो brownfield capex जो कर रहे थे, it is right on track and it will be operational by Q2 or Q3. Max to max by Q3 or Q4, it has to be operational. It will be operational. And if this brownfield capex जो कर रहे हैं, right, for the expansion of crane capacity, if they do that, it will add to the top line around if it is working, the plant is working at full capacity utilization, it will add around 4,000 crores to the top line, right? So again, just goes to tell you. Now, why am I emphasizing so much on this demand is because the CEO of the company, the current person that is there, right? His name is Saurabh Agarwal, the executive director. He has been working in this company since the year 1998, right? Since the year 1998, 1996, he's been working or so. And he told, he's been working as a sales and then as a manager, and, he's been through all the fields. And since that time, since the last 25 years, he's been working for the company, he's never seen the kind of demand that we're seeing today, right now, especially in terms, because the monsoon season is there, like I told you, weakest quarter. He's also telling, quote unquote, his words are, he's never seen this type of momentum, especially in monsoon, right? So it just goes to tell you, right, this, everything is working. You're having a good amount of tailwinds here in the industry. In terms of guidance, if I have to give you, right, what the company has told is that you can expect, like, on a consolidated basis, that is out of all, like cranes jo hai, material handling equipment jo hai, construction equipment jo hai, all of this, if you combine on a consolidated basis, they can grow 20 to 25%, right, on the revenue, and the margins will be around 15%, right? And this is not something that is not doable for them, because Q3 and Q4 is one of the strongest quarters, so it will be better again if the conditions sustain the way they are today, right? That is one thing. The second thing is, if you see, what I really like about the management is the management has really walked the talk, right? If you see, 2 years back also, they had told, in the next 3 years, we will double our revenue. I think at that time the revenue was around 1,200 crores. And right now, if you see, in FY24, they had given a target of, to achieve the top line of 2,400 crore. And you can see them doing them right now. It is quite doable because they've already done, I think, 2,100 in the last quarter itself, by FY23, right? And going forward also, they are telling that, cranes and agriculture segment, you can see an 18 to 20% growth. जो construction equipment है और material handling equipment जो है, construction equipment you can see a 45 to 50% का growth, and material handling equipment 15 to 20%. On a consolidated basis, 20 to 25% growth with maintaining a 15% margins, right? So this is really great. And again, they have also told from FY24 से जो भी revenue होगा, they will double it again by FY27, right? Again, this also depends in the next 3 years. Hopefully the demand condition is there. That is why we keep telling, like, track the company. But they have really walked the talk. What they told, 2 years back, jo bola tha, they have exactly done, like they have exactly executed what they have told. So all in all, if you see, I have nothing to complain about here in the entire with the entire result. Top line is great, bottom line is great, operating leverage hai, jo bhi product mix ka change ho raha tha, which they had given out the plan 2 years back. 2 years back, like I told you, construction equipment was hardly anything. They didn't have anything coming from construction equipment. Today, you're seeing 11% of revenue coming from there. Going forward, you will see more and more there also. They even spoke about cranes. Cranes ka bhi, you're seeing a lot of growth happening there, right? Not just that, in terms of like tailwinds are there. are there for this industry, and you're also seeing them do a capex, right, for the expansion that they're doing. And not just that, to wrap it all off, the fact that they've been even strong with the guidance also, right? The guidance also has been very strong, 20 to 25% growth. So all in all, a great set of numbers, absolutely nothing to be nothing to complain about here, right? So that's it about ACE, and I hope to see you again with another result update. So until then, see ya, bye.